Greetings, namaste. This will be our first video for the first chakra, the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra. So I'm going to walk you through about 5 postures, and let's begin standing with our feet planted firm into the floor. We're going to spread those feet out about a hip width apart, and just bring your arms down along the sides of your body. Your fingertips will be pointing towards the floor. We're going to line up our shoulders with our hip bones and down towards the heels, grounding deep into the feet into the earth, like you're sinking into deep, rich soil, planting your feet firm. And just a gentle pelvic tilt, not too much, but just enough that we can soften through that low back, releasing in your root. Feel free to close your eyes. Standing strong and firm, a deep foundation in this mountain pose, also known as Tadasana in Sanskrit. Just allow any stress to roll off the shoulders, where we often store tension and stress in the shoulders. We want to soften and let go. Very good. A beautiful pose to assume when we need to ground, stand our ground. Also a wonderful pose if you're about to engage in a difficult conversation, either on the phone or in person with someone, which is allowing yourself to be planted and rooted deep into the earth. And from this mountain pose, we'll flow into a little root flow here with our feet widening out a little bit more, a little wider than our hips. And let's bring our hands together at our heart. And we'll exhale and bend into the knees and lower down towards the floor. Just sink the elbows, landing gently on your knees. Very good. And from here, we're going to ease to squat. So let's bring the hands a little closer to the floor for some support. With the stance widening out, it allows for those heels to stay grounded as we lower down with the hips and the root to the floor. Hands hanging onto the floor gently. Just find your balance. If you're up off of the floor with the heels, that's okay. It's not a big deal, but just try to stay balanced, and widening out the stance will allow for those heels to sink a little deeper. And then we'll breathe the arms out, straight out from your heart space. Bring the hands together and then in towards the center of the chest. The elbows will press out, your knees will press in, creating a nice tension of balance, a tension point pressing against the hands as well. And surrendering to gravity, just let your roots sink deep. Beautiful. Now, if this is too intense for the calves, the knees, or if it's too difficult to hold it up onto the balls of the feet, the squat can also be done with your root grounded. So all the way down to the floor with the root, the feet planted firm, knees still spread out, hands still connected at the heart, and just move your elbows out as your knees press in, and surrender to gravity that way. So wherever you are in this squat pose, we'll release the hands down back to the floor, and let's softly come up onto the hands and knees in a tabletop pose for just a breath. And we'll widen out the stance with the knees a little more. And let's bring the toes together. And we're going to ground down with the root as we glide the hips and buttocks back and sink down towards your heels. Arms can stretch towards the top of your mat. Lower the heart and lower your third eye to the floor. In child's pose, sink your root deep. Feel a nice softness of that low back. And grounding in, you can choose to keep the arms extended overhead. And you can also bring your arms along the sides of your body and legs. That allows for the shoulders to soften a bit. And if you intend to hold into this child's pose longer, you can adjust the head and turn it in either direction, or keep that third eye grounded to the floor. Allow the shoulder blades and the upper half of your spine to soften and open. Very nice. And then we'll just bring those hands forward, back up just above the shoulders. Let's lift up with the third eye, slide forward with the shoulders, bring your knees in. Swing those legs to one side and just come down to sit. And we'll gently bring those legs straight out in front and stretch the legs. So the backs of the knees pull down. The feet will flex as if they're pressing against a wall. And the lower chakra body parts that I've mentioned in the article that I have with this video will connect with the backs of your legs. So the calves, backs of the knees, thighs, all lower chakra body parts that we want grounding down, as well as the root of our spine. And with those feet flexing as if they're pressing against a wall, we create some nice gentle heaviness through the legs and pressing it down as we float up with the arms, bring them up along the side of the head. Chin lifts over your heart. Soft gaze, lengthen and lift. So feel that root ground and then rebound up through the front of the spine like a wave with the chin right over your heart space. Good. Sinking deep. Feeling that support of the earth. Nice. Let's exhale down with the arms forward again. We can bend into the knees and we'll come to sit, and we can either move into a lotus, half lotus, full lotus, or just sitting with your legs crossed or folded one in front of the other two. Grounding once again with the root, bringing our hands to our knees with the palms turned up. And this is where we generally begin and end our posture in this asana, this seat, this seated pose. Finding that connection of root to earth, lifting up through the front of our spine. You want to connect the index fingers in towards the base of your thumbs, creating a Muladhara Bandha, a root lock with the fingers, and a deep connection of your root into the earth. Good. And breathe. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's bring our hands together at our hearts. This is just a sampler of a root chakra flow that will help to balance and ground, a good foundation, a good place to start with our practice. Thank you and namaste.